The Curse of Elsie and Virgil, a ghostly tale of terror and tragedy. Virgil had been warned never to enter Elsie's property. She kept a rundown house on the edge of town, and some said it was haunted by the ghosts of her past. But no matter what tales circulated, Virgil couldn't stay away. Every day he returned, and eventually, he worked up the courage to knock on her door. Elise answered, and Virgil was startled to see the woman he had heard so much about. She was small and frail, with an icy glare that chilled him to the bones. He was frozen with fear, but Elsie smiled and invited him inside. Virgil tentatively stepped into her home, unsure of what he was getting himself into, as Elsie began to tell him the secrets of this house. She told Virgil about the ghosts of her past and how they had once lived in this house. She explained that these ghosts were protective, and had always watched over her, keeping her safe. Virgil listened intently, feeling more and more uneasy as the minutes ticked by. Finally, Virgil couldn't take it anymore, and he begged Elsie to let him leave, but she told him that he wasn't allowed to leave until he had seen the ghosts with his own eyes. Virgil was panicked, and he tried to argue, but Elsie wouldn't hear it, and she threatened to call the police if he didn't comply. Virgil reluctantly agreed. He was led to the back room of the house, where he was told to wait until the ghosts appeared. Virgil nervously stood in the corner of the room, waiting. After what felt like hours, Virgil heard a loud bang, and he saw the silhouette of a figure standing in the doorway. Virgil was terrified, and he wanted nothing more than to run away, but his feet were frozen in place as the figure slowly stepped into the room. He noticed that the figure was wearing a long, white dress, her face hidden in shadow. Elsie said her name was Agatha and that she was an ancestor of hers. Agatha explained that it was her job to protect Elsie and her family from any harm that might come to them. She told Virgil that if he ever tried to hurt any of them, she would make sure to haunt him for the rest of his life. Virgil was petrified, but he could do nothing but accept the warning. He said goodbye to Elsie and fled the house, never daring to look back. Years later, Virgil still had nightmares in which he was haunted by Agatha, who threatened to take revenge on him if he ever harmed Elsie or her family. He tried to put the incident out of his mind, but he always felt her presence, watching him. One night, Virgil was walking home from work when he heard a strange noise behind him. He spun around, but saw nothing. He started to walk away, but then he heard the same noise again, and he froze in terror. He slowly turned around and saw Agatha standing before him, her face illuminated by the moonlight. She reached out her hand and pointed towards the direction of Elsie's house. Virgil knew what she wanted him to do, and he started to run. He ran faster than he ever had before, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel Agatha behind him, her presence getting ever closer. He arrived at Elsie's house to see that it was on fire. He heard screams coming from inside, and he knew that Agatha had followed through on her promise. Virgil watched in horror as the house burned to the ground. He knew that Elsie had not survived, and he could only assume that her family had also perished. He had failed to protect them, and he knew that he was next. Agatha appeared from the shadows and pointed to the sky. Virgil followed her gesture and saw a ghostly figure descending from the heavens. He realized that he had been summoned to join the spirits of Elsie and her family. Just as he started to accept his fate, Agatha spoke. "This is the price you must pay for failing to protect them." Virgil dropped to his knees and wept as he was taken away to join the ghosts of Elsie's past and pay for his mistake forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and tell us what you think in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.